I'm Adrienne, your sex positive bestie, here for sexy talk, real stories, and tips that just hit. Ready to play? Let's go. It's me. Hi. I'm definitely the problem. It's me, but I'm back in the studio and I'm really excited for today's episode. The number one question I get by far in my DMs, on the website, in life in general is how can I get my partner to have more sex? How can I improve our sex life? How do I get my partner to have the same drive as I do? I'm not kidding you when I say it is so common, and it's something I really am excited to talk about today. A very, very hot topic. But first, I want to tell you, Mr. Wright and I have been getting it in, and he is definitely to blame for this episode being a little late. It's so difficult because, okay, busy all day and I feel like super drained, and then single mom in it, driving back and forth to school, practices, working out all the time, friends, family, life, grocery store, chores, and then spending quality time with my family and, of course, Mr. Wright. It was so beautiful this week. And one of my very favorite things to do with Mr. Wright is to sit on the porch, like the sun setting or a rainstorm comes through. It's been something that we've done since the very beginning of our relationship. And when it's a nice day and there's porch beers available, I'm going to go out there and do that instead of coming down and get in the studio. And then we had a rare night without a child and we let it rip. Okay. There's one thing about me and him together, we are both full throttle. Like, it's a lot. And so, we did porch beers, had sex for like an hour. And then he was like, hey, let's go to our favorite dive bar. And we caught up with lots of friends. It was such a good time. But, there it goes. Another day. I need to get in the studio. But I'm going to find balance. It's funny because I think to myself, like, God, it didn't used to be this hard, but I also didn't have so much going on. And also I was single. I have a couple single friends right now. And I'm like, listen, like, especially my one friend, she's like, where is he? Just like me. She's like, I want him to come knocking on my door and I just want this relationship. And I'm like, hey, listen, enjoy this single period of your life. Like, there's something magical about that space as well, especially how much time you have to focus on yourself and your goals. So anyways, okay. About Mr. Wright and I getting it in. We've been having sex like every other day and it's been fantastic. We are still loving the strawberry Astroglide. If you haven't tried that, I highly recommend. It's like tasteless. It doesn't get sticky and it smells so good. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like this like little, like when he's pounding away and it smells like delicious strawberry. I'm like, yum. And another thing is we were talking about the other day, we were like, to prone or not to prone. Because I told him, I think I discussed it on the last episode, like, hey, we've been doing it this way every single time. I do not want to get in a rut. And when we had like the bomb session the other day, we didn't do prone, we didn't finish in it and we didn't really focus on it. And I was like, hey, like, I kind of miss that. And he was like, me too. Like, I don't know. I think his cock was made for my pussy. When I tell you that position is just... it's unbelievable. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It just like fills me up. Like yesterday morning, and it's so hot because like I texted him, I'm like, hey, tomorrow you're going to fill me up. And, was doing the whole foreplay, starting outside the bedroom. That's one of my like biggest tips. And I don't like just the position of it. And I don't know, like he puts his hand on my throat or kisses me on my neck and my back. And just the way that like he expresses how good it feels too. And I told him yesterday, I was like, God, I almost like can feel you in my throat. I swear to God, like, I don't know. It is just like one of my favorite positions. We are still addicted to that and just trying to find balance without wearing it out. It's funny. I asked him yesterday, we were hanging out and I said, hey, what is it like to be with someone as sexual as me? Oh, because that's another thing too. So I was using a toy and like talking to him about my fantasies. And I was like, something I really want to do is like, I hate the word cuck. I don't know why I hate that word, but I want to have a threesome with another guy and I want him to like clean me up after Mr. Wright finishes at me. That is definitely a fantasy of mine. And I was telling him and he was like, okay. And I was like, all right. And I was like, what is it like to be with someone like me? Like, because sometimes I feel like he gets overwhelmed. And he just said, Adrienne, it's intense. And I was like, but that's a good thing though, right? I'm just glad he can handle my ass. Okay, let's get into the hot topic of sexless marriages or relationships. I just want to start this off by saying, if this is you, like, I can't even tell you how I relate. I've been there, right? Like, I was in a sexless marriage. I struggled a lot with the amount of sex I was getting with Prince Charming. He turned me down a lot, and that was super hard for me. And I, had a lot of resentment about that and made a huge mistake and stepped out. Mr. July, if you don't know that story, my Lord, go back to, what is the one episode? I think it's episode 40. Remember who the fuck you are. But look, a lot going on with that. And let's talk about it. Because when I think about this situation, it comes down to like a few options, right? Like conversation. Like, I think communication and conversation is so massive here, right? Like, if you're not having sex, what's the reason? Okay, like, we got to get to the bottom of that. And you need to look at the relationship, look inside and out of the relationship, including looking at yourself, right? And really think, what has changed? My marriage, and like, I can pinpoint that in my past. What has changed, what did change in my marriage is he completely became someone else. And also when we had a baby, he just was like, I'm not doing this, and kind of gave up. And I was like, well, fuck you. Like, I remember he came upstairs one day and he was like, are we going to have sex anytime soon? And I was like, oh, allow me, after I cleaned up, fed, bathed, nursed, rocked her to sleep for an hour, did everything. And I just sit down, allow me to satisfy you, right? Like, I had a shitty attitude about it. And if I were going to try to repair that relationship, like, we should have talked about that. And he should have looked inside and thought, maybe I should help her a little bit and she won't hate me as much as she does, right? But think to you, like, that was something that changed. And then with my relationship with Prince Charming, his addictions became a huge problem. And I resented him massively for it. And it just became this vicious cycle. And that's what changed in that relationship. So think about those things. And like I said, look outside of the bedroom as well. Remember that a relationship is not 50-50. It's 100-100. And that's a big thing, I think. Like, a lot of people don't think about that. They just think about, I want to get laid, I want to have fun. And they don't think, like, are you contributing to the relationship? What has changed in your relationship since the sex has slowed down? I think that's a really big deal. I also want to discuss how, like, you have all this conversation and you're like, Adrian, I'm talking to my partner. I bring it up. She or he, because I've seen it both ways, right? Like I said, I was the one that didn't want to have sex in my marriage. And then Prince Charming was the one that didn't want to have it in our relationship, right? And, so it could be both. But when you're having conversations, you're trying to do all the things, you're doing dishes, you're helping out, you're taking kids, you're whatever, and it's still not enough and there's no change. I feel like it gets to be really simple, and you have like 3 choices. Okay. And it's funny because I've done some research, and Mr. Wright have talked a lot about this too. I feel like there's 3 things that you can do here. You can accept it for what it is, right? You can jerk off. Okay. You could go to tracysdog.com, use my code Cravers20, that's Cravers 20, and stock up on toys, pleasure yourself, and just accept it, right? By the way, that's for 20% off their entire website, and my favorite magic wand is on sale. But anyways, just accept it for what it is. The second thing that you can do is discuss ethical non-monogamy, right? I'm going to start stepping out. It's funny because I need to have Zach on the show so fucking bad. Like, he needs to come on the show. A lot has changed with him, including the fact that he is divorced now. And I want him to share his story, but that was kind of what it was. I was like, look, I'm going to step out now, right? Like, that's the next choice that you have. And most partners are not going to be okay with that. So the next one is you can step out. And this, I 10 out of 10 do not recommend. I got the t-shirt and you don't want it, right? Like, stepping out with Mr. July is still one of the biggest regrets that I have. It's something that, like, I wish I could take back. You have no idea. We had phenomenal sex and it was amazing. And the limerence was so fucking cool, but it wasn't real. It was fantasy. It put me in this mist, if you will. And not like fantasy world for almost 2 years. And he played a lot of games with me, used me, embarrassed me, I feel like. And it burned me pretty good. There's a reason why I was single for so long after that situation. And the fact that his wife found out that, the world that we lived in, I mean, it was tough. And I still, to this day, do not want to go like in the vicinity of where they live because I'm terrified of running into them, running into her, because I feel so guilty. And it's just a massive mistake that I made. And I don't care what anybody says. I know the excitement. I know the thrill. Oh my God, it was the highest high, but it is the lowest low. I did a whole episode about the reasons why you should not cheat because it will fuck you up in ways that you don't even think about. And it's just, I just feel like that is just never the option. But it is an option, right? Like, and that's something that like happens commonly in relationships and you have cheating and all that stuff, but I don't recommend that. Something else that I was looking at was, the keys to a great relationship and like, how do we move forward? I saw this article and I really liked the 3 keys to a great relationship. And it's intimacy, thrill, and sensuality. So intimacy, of course, is vital in a relationship. In fact, I did another episode all about that as well, like other forms of intimacy as well, because it includes, physical closeness, communication, conflict resolution. Oh my God, if I can tell you, like, I finally have that in a relationship and I never feel closer to Mr. Right than when we resolve something and we get through something. It really does bring you together. And then also your friendship and your loyalty. The next one is thrill. This includes dating your partner, right? Like having romance in your relationship, sharing appreciation. Like that is so huge. I feel like that's something I really try to strive and work on with Mr. Right is always appreciating what he does for me. And he does the same back. Making an effort to treat your partner like the unique and amazing person that they are. And then the third one is sensuality. And that includes like the entire spectrum of touch, eroticism, how do you say that? Exorcism, from holding hands to making passionate love and everything in between. Okay, so we know like key points to relationships and that's all fine and good. But Adrienne, how do we move forward? Right? Like I said, communication and conversation is key. So I think the first thing is really, truly, with love and respect, talk about the sex that you're not having. And if you need to get couples therapy, I highly recommend that as well. There's nothing wrong with that. And it can really, really cure and resolve issues in your relationship. Okay. Another thing that I think is very important is that you don't go from no sex to lots of sex or no sex to just sex, right? Like, why don't we take a pause and slow things down? Try no sex to just intimacy, okay? And like start off small with like cuddling on the couch or cuddling before bed while watching TV or a movie. Let's talk about kissing. When's the last time you really made out with your partner where you had like sensual kisses? My favorite thing to do, by the way, is to like sit, basically Mr. Right sits like Indian style almost, and then I like straddle him and we just like slowly make out together and just like, it's not like heavy petting or anything like that. It's just like sitting with each other and just making out, looking at each other, like the kissing. Don't forget about the kissing. And then physical touch. It can be as small as holding hands, right? Passing by your partner and touching their shoulder. I'm a big fan of when Mr. Right comes up behind me and just wraps his arms around me. And I even like a tap on the ass. Not everybody will, but you can talk with your partner. And then another thing too is like having that emotional connection. That's intimacy as well. Like I talked about earlier, porch beers and sitting on the porch when a storm rolls through. That is something in a space where Mr. Right and I have totally just like put it all out there, been very vulnerable with each other, shared our deepest and darkest. One night I remember we were out there for like 4 hours and a big storm came through, and it's just one of my favorite places with him. Like try to find a space like that for you and your partner, where you can talk about things and let your guard down. Even last night I was having a discussion with him because, he is very involved in my daughter's life. He is definitely a dad to her. And it's funny because she's accidentally called him that a couple times. And he always says, he's like, I can't wait for her to call me that one day. And he's putting in the effort, right? He's putting in the work. And I had a discussion with him last night and I got a little emotional because, gosh, I'm not trying to share too much of my personal life. But he has worked very hard with her on volleyball, and with his career, he hasn't been able to make every game. He's going to practices and practicing with her every night. But so far this season, he hasn't been able to make a game because in his business, the weekends are everything. And I know it's been difficult for him. And I felt bad because today I know he really wanted to go, but he couldn't. And I just said to him, I said, you're playing the long game and it's a lot with a little reward. Now, look, she loves him so much and their relationship is awesome. Like, I absolutely love it. But, it's tough sometimes because he's playing the long game, right? And, I see these TikToks where it's like, my dad wasn't there, but he was, or I want to say this, my father wasn't there, but my dad was. My father wasn't here, but my dad was. My father didn't do this, but my dad did. And I know that's what the future is going to hold for him. But sometimes I think he just is kind of hard on himself when he's like, I want to be there for every moment and every single thing. Anyways, all that emotional intimacy, right, that we had just last night on the porch. Like, are you doing that with your partner? Another thing that could be really intimate is like a shared activity, cooking together, working on a chore together. Do not recommend putting together furniture. That is not a shared activity that I would recommend for closeness. So if you want to test your relationship, put together what did we put together outside? Like a pergola or whatever that thing's called. Oh my God. And then the love sack couch. Jesus, that was like, I remember at one point we were both looking at each other. We were like sweating. And he was like, I know I'm being pissy right now. I'm like, me too. And then, okay, another form of intimacy that you can go from no sex to intimacy, because I really do think you should try to slow it down, is the small gestures, right? Leave love notes for one another. I send Mr. Right text messages at least once a week and tell him how proud I am of him, what a great leader he is, all the things that I love about him. I encourage him. I let him know that I'm supporting him. I'm in his corner with whatever he's going through. Those are small things, right? So, all right, we've talked about lovingly talk about the sex you aren't having, right? Go to therapy if you have to as well. And then maybe not go from no sex to sex, right? Like go from no sex to intimacy. I really, really like that idea. And then, you should schedule dates for sex or schedule dates where you're having this intimate connection. I've talked about this before. I'm a big fan of scheduling sex. Like yesterday morning, I said like, hey, I want to have sex tomorrow morning. Like this is on the, schedule. Or, hey, we have a kid-free night. Like I want you to rock my world. Like that's basically scheduling sex. And that's okay. When you were first dating your partner, you were scheduling sex too. You just didn't know it because you had dinner and you were all excited for it, right? So like scheduling sex, there's nothing wrong with it. And when I was thinking about like scheduling dates and stuff, I found this article that discusses the 777 rule for marriage and relationships. And it's like to maintain, consistent and intentional connection. Because let's face it, without that, guys, we're not going to be having sex, right? We're not going to be having that like connective, like amazing, like thoughtful, all encompassing, that I just want you. I want to feel fulfilled by you. Sex. Okay. So the 777 rule, I really liked this. So every 7 days, have a date night. I'm a huge fan of that, by the way, like a weekly dedicated, undistracted time together. And that doesn't have to mean date night, movie night, going to a movie or, having, speak of the devil, Mr. Right's calling me right now. I'll talk to you later, baby. Okay. You can go on a walk together. That's something else that we've been doing is walking Humphrey a lot. And, stuff like that. That can be a part of your date night. It doesn't have to be dinner, drinks, whatever. So think of creative ideas for a date night at least every 7 days. And then every 7 weeks, have a night away, a weekend getaway, or an overnight stay to break the routine and gain perspective. I love that idea as well. All right, I had to press pause because he kept blowing me up. My brother's coming over tonight, and Mr. Wright is making beef Wellington. We're so excited, and I'm looking forward to a fun night with them. Okay, so back to it. So every 7 days, have a date night. Every 7 weeks, have a night away. And then every 7 months, book a vacation. Big fan of this, like a larger romantic trip or vacation to reconnect on a deeper level. That's huge, right? And I completely agree with that. It can even be like a staycation, okay? But it's something to look forward to. It's something where the world goes away. And let's talk about the opportunity for vacation sex. Hell yeah. Like when Mr. Wright and I go, we're going to Antigua this summer, actually. And let me just tell you something. We're fucking every day, sometimes multiple times a day, because there's nothing like hotel vacation sex, all right? So I really, really, really loved this 777 rule. I thought it was really smart. So just remember that if you're struggling in your relationship. Okay. Now I want to talk about something, and that is, okay, Adrian, well, you've given me all these great ideas. That's all fine and good, but I've tried all that shit and my partner won't budge and I am full of resentment. I want to read something to you because this post I saw, it really was like, wow, because I felt this for when I was in my marriage, in a sexless marriage. And I think a lot of you can relate to this. Okay. So this user on Reddit said, the resentment, the mind games of asking myself, why? Is it something I'm doing wrong? And this has been going on for years now. We used to have sex every other day, then maybe twice a week. It slowed down to once a week. And this has remained consistent for a while. Now it's every other week and there's no consistency at all. Sometimes it's like a scheduled shag and it feels like it's just a chore to keep me happy. Oh, I feel like Prince Charming used to do that. Sorry, I was talking about my relationship with Prince Charming was the one where I wanted to have sex all the time and he didn't. So like that's so true. Like I felt like sometimes he was just like getting it done, right? Oof. Okay. The longer it goes on, the more I resent my wife, and I actually don't play at her own game. I ignore her and I don't give her attention just so that she knows how it feels. This is when trouble really starts, right? Like the connection between you two, like things are starting to fall apart. There's going to be cracks in your foundation of your relationship. And I relate to that, right? Like you're like, fuck you. You know what? Like, you don't want to give me what I want, then I'm not going to give you what you want. And then it becomes like a downward spiral to mostly, a lot of times stepping out or divorce. Okay. He says, I've spoken to her in the past. I've been angry. I've been emotional. I've been calm. It makes no difference between emotions. The end result makes no difference. I just want to come to terms with the fact that my wife has simply gone off of sex, and that's as simple as it is. Or her desire for sex has just declined over the years and mine has remained the same. Sex is always on her time, not mine. I'll take it with the snap of a finger, and she knows this, which again is why I resent her for being in full control of our sex life. He says, what's even worse is that I have mental conversations about all the things that my wife loves to do on a weekly basis, like eating cake, having a smoke, playing games on her phone, watching my son play football, her TV shows, the food she loves to eat. And I think to myself, why isn't that sex on a list of things that you would rather do at the same level that you love doing everything else in life? By the way, that like mental mind fuck game, oh, I so get that. He says, there's simply no balance between her weekly pleasures and having sex. I bet anything if I offered her a box of chocolates tomorrow, she would have them. But if I offered sex tomorrow night, it would be a no. Or she complains she's tired. Or she has issues, but yet she has no issues staying up late watching television. It's all circumstantial scenarios that tailor to her needs and not mine. I bet if you have been in this situation before or you are in the situation before, like you felt that, right? Because I get it. Like I was there and that resentment keeps building and building and building. And I want to go back to like my 3 choices I feel like you have. And another version of that is, number 1, you can accept it, right? And number 2, you can end it. Okay. I like number 3, where it's you negotiate a compromise that you can accept together as partners. And the secret of that success, number 3, where you compromise that was something you can accept, is to let her know or him know that you have ruled out number 1. Like you are not just going to accept this and the way that it is. It's really difficult and really hard. And I know how incredibly hard it is to get out of a relationship. Leaving my marriage, leaving Prince Charming, is some of the hardest steps I've ever had to take. My marriage was a little easier because he made it easy on me with the cheating. And also I was just so thrilled to get out. But leaving Prince Charming was really difficult for me. But there was too many cracks in our foundation. His addiction's number one, but the lack of sex and my desires and my sexual needs were not being met whatsoever. And I knew that this wasn't going to change, right? And so I left, and I know how hard that is and how scary it is. And, we lived together, but we weren't married, and we didn't share property or items together. And I know how insurmountable that amount of shit that you have together can feel. But I also want to share that I have friends who are getting divorced now in their 60s and 70s, right? I don't know. You have to really think to yourself, what are my options? What can I choose to do? And I hope that I gave you some really great ideas and examples today. But just know that you're not alone, and know that whatever decision that you make for yourself is going to be the right one. And zero judgment from me, right? I don't know. I have friends that are staying in bad situations. I have friends that are leaving, and I support anyone and everyone with whatever they do because it's their life, right? No one can talk to you about what's between you and your partner. I just really hope that with some of the things I've talked about, especially like the 777 rule and not going from no sex to sex, like building the intimacy with one another, having the real loving and respectful talks, right? Like just talking about it can change a lot. And I do actually really love that idea, like accept it, end it, or negotiate it. And like the key to negotiating is letting them know, like, I'm not going to accept this. And then maybe tell them I don't want to end this, right? Maybe they don't know that threat is there. So anyways, hot topic. I would love to hear from you. You can share anything with me on the website, midlifecraving.com, or over on Instagram at midlifecraving. I'm the one in the DMs. I love talking to you guys. And also next week, I'm going to be discussing red flags, green flags, and non-negotiables in relationships. I have a lot of friends that are going through stuff, and also it was a big way of how I was able to vet Mr. Right better and find my person. So we're going to be talking about all of that next week. I wanted to tell you too, if you're listening and you love the show, please share it with a friend. Give me a rating, a review. God, I feel like such a millennial saying this, but it really does matter. Like on Apple or Spotify, ratings or, comments or reviews on the show. It means so much to me. All right. I will see you guys next week with a bouquet of red flags.